So Marcus, you make me think of, this is kind of lead into our next topic. You are the kind of guy that like sees a model that you really like and you build a whole army around it. And you build that fun kind of way. And I enjoy it just because I know you, but it is difficult to play with sometimes because nothing meshes at all.
That's why you got to keep building on it for 10 years. So then if you just own the whole codex, you can find something that works.
We always build a different army every year, though. Nothing goes together. Your logic makes no sense.
It does like 4 years after that Adepticon year, after we build to it.
So anyway, Brandon, on the other hand, he's very good at building that list that finds that thing that can really just drive it home and just beat the hell out of somebody. But I think what Brandon is really good at is taking that list and making it more of a fun experience for your opponent and yourself. Like, because I think Brandon even commented on it before. Like, if I'm winning, there are times I've lost games because I'm like, I hate the way I'm winning right now. I hate myself for this win, and I'll hit the brakes, and then I end up just like screwing myself over. But Brandon is very good at finding that balance in a list that'll still win, but not be that feel badsies. And so Brandon's kind of take us through your process. And you talked about like the Imperial Guard list, kind of that competitive idea. Kind of take us through some of those things.
Okay, so
was that the right lead-in?
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Okay.
So if we're going to touch on the Imperial Guard, how I would build Imperial Guard, there are two schools of thought. When I'm going to take I'll think about the competitive aspect of it first, because that's what's going to necessarily win your game. But okay, so even before then, I would look at what tournament I'm going to play at. If I'm playing at the friendly, I would look at just what I could make that's cool, because it's not about winning. But I think your question falls apart then if it's just a friendly tournament. So let's go into a somewhat competitive situation where I want to win some games, or I want to hold my own. And the way I would do it, I was look at what's good in the meta, and I would try and see why it's good. Is it a lot of Space Marine Strength 4 stuff? Maybe people are just Strength 4 bolter stuff down. In which case I'd be like, well, what's good in Guard? Well, if I get a bunch of Toughness 8 Lehman Russes on the field, everything they have wounds on 6s. I'm going to shut down all that Strength 4. But how do I make it so if I know that I'm playing that Anvil style of you're not going to be able to kill me, I don't want to be able to kill you immediately. Right. I'm not gonna wipe you off the table. I'm not gonna bring full Catachin plasma on plasma, rerolling my ones, rerolling all the numbers to hit to take on a Space Marine heavy meta, and then just win turn one. I want to have a game. So maybe I take one commander with plasma, and I take one commander with a Punisher cannon. He's got Strength 4. There's no rend on it, so the guy's going to be able to make a bunch of 3-up saves and feel good about, you're going to have to do 20 saves, but only 2 Primaris Marines die because of it. He could feel like he's involved in the game that he's playing. And then, but another tricky, because I play a lot of Eldar in competitive scenes, is at Buckeye Battles 2 years ago, I brought a beat face Eldar list and brought just a building to put my Eldar in, and spent weeks on making that building look really nice. And everyone loved looking at that building and talking about the building. And then I just ran over people with Dark Reapers that sat in that building. So it could be a little bit of building. It could be a little bit of everything.
Didn't care what that building looked like. I hated that building.
Yeah,
it beat me so many times.
You could build a list and look at what your opponents are most likely going to bring, because you don't really know what you're going to go up against in any given day, but which is great about 8th. But you could look at what's in the meta currently, why that thing in the meta is winning. And most armies, which is another good thing about 8th, have some way of dealing with whatever's winning in the meta. Most armies have a way of dealing with mortal wounds. They have a way of dealing with psychic attacks. They have a way of dealing with low strength and high strength weaponry. And they have high toughness and mass low toughness units that can be spammed. And how you kind of make a list to fight that meta could help mold whatever army you're going to bring, guard included, into that mind or that realm of competitive gaming.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but we find when that happens, we find a lot of the people that are meta chasing. But I think where your strength really lies, when you went 5-0, that you weren't playing the meta army. How did you figure out how to still hang with those meta armies? Because I know you beat a White Scars team that was really in your face.
Well,
and you guys still had a good time.
I beat
there wasn't a bad time.
I beat the White Scars team. Sorry, I beat the White Scars team not because of my game. He tabled me. I beat him because I made him play on a chess clock because that was an option for me, and he spent 45 minutes of his hour and a half in deployment because he was triple measuring everything. That's how I won that game. And like I made it a good game to him because every time he wanted to talk, I hit it so I was on my time. I wanted him to feel comfortable to talk with me because I knew he was already, I could see he was already like anxiety ridden about his time because he went through turn 1 and had 20 minutes left on his clock. And I had an hour and 15. So we had all the conversations. We had a nice, back and forth all on my time. And I made it so that I could make him as comfortable as he could be, but I found an avenue to win that wasn't really even list based. And I took advantage of winning the game on that avenue. So, I mean, to that extent, sometimes you could win, not even in the game. You could look at the other ways that people are scoring you or other constraints that are on you and use them to your advantage too.
Yeah, that was a good game because I kept checking in with that one. I do agree though. That is the drawback to being the more soft score kind of oriented style player and having those time clocks, because with the chess clocks, you definitely don't feel like you can have that conversation because you're wasting time. And so it sounds like you found a way to continue to have that conversation and not make it as stressful. And I think that's pretty good. So, yeah. So you were saying about some of the building and stuff like that. What more do you have to offer?
For guard or for anything really? Like,
I think we were supposed to talk about guard at this point, but
right. So
I totally screwed it up.
No, you're good. You're good. So what we did is, so we built two different lists, right, off of something called the Emperor's Blade Assault Company out of Vigilance Defiant. Okay, and it's this weird, obscure detachment that is mostly focused on chimeras and thoraxes. Those transports you get from guard. So I had John, who, if anyone doesn't know, is a very experienced player that is on our team. He plays orcs a lot. He's very cool. He built this heavy hitter, in your face. There's like 9 chimeras in it. I can read it if you guys want me to. And then I built I know nothing about guard. I know that they have toughness 3 and that my orcs like to eat them. I built a list based off of cool models with a Vietnam War aspect to it. I'm thinking like truck lines and like vultures, like providing security with Lehman Russes on a road. I don't know, with the Armageddon Steel Legion kind of stuff. And like, yeah, we could maybe compare and contrast like a new versus a noob. Just buying models because, oh my God, have you guys ever seen a vulture model? Especially if someone puts LED lights on it. Oh, Marcus.
They're beautiful models. They're terrible to put together.
Oh, I
They're
know.
the worst
they are.
model to put together.
Brandon's going to show me how to do lights this summer.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
exciting.
I'm down. I like lights.
I'm still holding you to it.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, just look up. Like, I'll just give like a short teaser of what it is. What I built was just a battalion and an air wing detachment. The battalion is just a company commander and a lord commissar, 3 basic infantry squads with like a plasma rifle, because I know plasma is good. And then 3 Lehman Russes with a basic build out, battle cannon, last cannon, heavy bolter, and then the chimeras to hold them, and then air wing detachment with vultures and valkyries. Because from a new perspective, like when you look at that box, you're like, yeah, I want to do that. And then my military history background, I was like, why not? We can do maybe paint them up Salazar Chem Dog style. Like, did I lose everyone?
I love that
You're
regiment.
good.
Okay, cool. Everything went a little dark for a second there. But yeah. So there's no rules for Salazar Chem Dogs, but the opportunity for conversion and maybe like putting like handwritten graffiti on chimeras is really cool to me.
Yeah, I know the 7th edition codex had lots of lore and stuff in the codex.
Right. So that's where I went with mine. John, woo! Oh boy, I don't understand most of what he gave me, but he used a lot of the stuff out of the Greater Good book, and it's there's Commissar Yarrick in here, company commander. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guard squads with accompanying chimeras, and then a bunch of special weapon squads, all dosed up with flamers and plasma guns, scout sentinels. He went really into it. I built my list off of like an orc focus because I would just, being the noob I am for guard, I would have just charged all those vehicles at once into the enemy.
Yeah, that
Just
sounds
like-
like an up in your grill kind of army.
Yeah, be like, hi, I'm here.
We're a bunch of humans. We have nothing special about us other than angst.
But just objectively, to like look at the 2 lists, your list has around 100 wounds, and 30 of that is at toughness 8, which is good. It's a toughness 8 wound is effectively 2 toughness 4 wounds, mathematically with dice or whatever. But you're at around 100 wounds. John's list, tooled up list, is like 286 wounds.
Yeah, and he used regimental doctrines, so he made the brigade disciplined shooters and pyromaniacs. So that's the I don't even know what doctrines are for guards. So that's why
super orky.
It
Bunch
really
of Burna
does.
boys up in here.
Yeah, there's hellhounds, scout sentinels. Scout sentinels all have heavy flamers. So it's almost like this list is. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the guard group known as fire skunks that live on like orbital platforms. They have like red robes, like Adeptus Mechanicus, and they're usually brought into worlds where the Imperium doesn't care if everything burns down because they use like this high grade promethium that creates whirling firestorms. That's what this list looks like. It looks like the Necrons have invaded. Well, let me just burn you all down with plasma and flame.
Yeah. I think the downside to this list, though, is where your list is going to shine is against Space Marines. And where his list is going to shine is against Eldar or Tau or anything that it could just run up, and it's got enough bodies that it's going to survive a turn or 2 and still be lethal. It's got enough transports that it could put the flamers in the transports, the Tau will kill the transports, or the Eldar will kill the transports, and flamers will come out and take care of any toughness 3 bodies. But orcs are still going to run over this list.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There's not enough speed bumps to stop an orc list from running over this. The issue with the other list, Matt, you put together, if you were going to play orcs, is that the planes aren't OBSEC. So as an orc player, I would just ignore the planes you're used to a bunch of people dying anyway. You're playing
Yeah.
orcs,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
so just kill all the stuff on the ground.
I basically use 50 to 70% of my force will be dead by turn 2, but so will theirs.
Yeah. And if you, as an orc player, if you can control which 70% of your force is dead, you win the game, because that 30% is probably 80% of your killing power.
Mm-hmm. And the list that I presented today is I've actually gone against that. I wouldn't remember Mags, and when we went to Martinsville, I actually played a list similar to this. He had Valkyries with Tempestus Scions, with Grav Shoots, and like he had like 6 Lehman Russes. And that was back when I was running the where you would mob up 20 Mega Knobs into one thing, and I would throw them at people. That was fun. 6 tanks in 1 turn. Let's get weird. Oh yeah. Oh, it was like eating Chef Boyardee's but humans. It was great.
All right. Well, on that note, I think that kind of wraps up our list comparison for today and kind of how to build it as competitive as you want. And then I think we'll drill down on this more in the future.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
a really interesting topic because I think a lot of people lose focus on, because we look at the meta list and we want to keep up with the meta and still want to win.
Right.
But I think a lot of people lose focus on that. I want to win, or I lose focus on the fun when they want to go, I want to win, or at least stay alive in this. So I think it's really a great topic to talk about. Like, here's that competitive. How do we still have fun when we're playing it?
Yeah.
So,
and sorry, I'll let you continue in just a second. But if this is coming to the end of that little YouTube section, feel free to comment below about what kind of armies you play or what kind of armies you want to see us talk about in the future.
Yeah.
Because we'll break down something. I'll ramble about whatever army you want to hear about.
He's got a very well-versed knowledge of every army and how to either beat it or play it. I usually am his doubles partner, and I've never seen anybody go, I'm like, hey, what if we play, this is how we win with that army. How did you come back with that so fast? Like,
well, the other thing I really like about this is Emperor's Blade Detachment. I don't know about you guys, but I have never seen anyone run that at a tournament. Never seen it. It's pretty cool, but I've never seen it.